feel like when it comes to Charles Xavier, we are officially in beating a dead horse territory. CB Cebulski, that's the dude in charge of the X-Men right now. It's like you don't like him. It's like, anytime I get a chance, I'm a dump on that bald-headed. Well, here's another chance. My name is Dorian, this is SEM Comics. We continue our coverage of Uncanny X-Men with number 11. Our story starts off in the Rion sector in the Phobos system, which I'm assuming is in Shi'ar space, and a smaller ship is looking to dock with this big huge ship. And this ship seems to be a Shi'ar royal vessel. And as we see inside, there's a bunch of Shi'ar royal guards, and all of a sudden this dude, who's already on the inside, who seems to be a part of the crew, just starts taking out people. He lets the other ship dock, and more people start coming out, taking out the royal guards. I mean, it's just Shi'ar on Shi'ar crime. Now, they're trying to get to the throne room or the sleeping quarters of the Shi'ar Empress. There's only one problem. Deathbird is in front of them, and Deathbird don't play. Like, if you know anything about Deathbird, then you know she's a problem. Now, in this situation, this is where, when I took a break from reading comics, you can tell. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, she said that she's guarding her niece. I'm like, hold on, time out. She's not guarding her sister? Elandria? No. Elandria is not the Empress anymore. No. It's her daughter. So who do you think is the father? So now we cut back to Graymalkin Prison, where the heifer is in rare form. She's getting an update to what's going on in the prison by Captain Ezra, and he lets her know that Phil Scurvy is still in the sick bay from what happened during the raid. And she's like, if he dies, I want his brain preserved for proper postmortem study. Man, it's like CB Cebulski's writing this character. And then we switch to Bob, that has a mustard stain on his shirt, and he is sweating like a hooker in church. And he's like, ma'am, there is something wrong with Xavier. And she's like, what? He's crying. Even though he got that helmet on, he can see everything that's happening on that Shi'ar ship. And he knows that the only thing standing in the way of those rebel Shi'ars kidnapping and possibly killing his daughter is Deathbird. And because of all this stress, the computer is pretty much telling the heifer that he is about to have a heart attack. So we see Deathbird is holding her own, hence her name. And the heifer is all over Bob like, why is this dude dying? And because he's sweating like a hooker in church, you know the answer he's going to give. Yes or no? Now, unfortunately, even for Deathbird, there's too many of them. And eventually, she goes down, and now there's nothing stopping them from getting the Empress. So she's surrounded. She starts to call out to her father telepathically to please help her. Unfortunately, he gets sedated because they don't want him to die. Now we cut to Louisiana, where you have Wolverine and Jubilee, and they're about to take the kids through a danger room training. No, their makeshift danger room training. And Rogue in this changes her mind like she changes her underwear. So Gavin's like, hey, don't worry, sweetie, they're not going to get hurt. And then Rogue's like, that is what I'm afraid of. So all they have to do is stay on their feet for 3 full minutes. So as soon as it begins, Nightcrawler bamps right next to Rogue, so now it smells like farts. He gets to Calico, picks her up off her horse, drops her on her butt, and is like, sorry, Fourline, but you're out. And it also smells like farts. So Jubilee is using her powers against Death Dream, and he's just like up high, standing there. Jubilee's like, you're supposed to run, Death Dream. He's like, run. I hate the rules of this game. This is a terrible game. And he's just standing there trying not to get hit. So now before the game got started, Ransom was talking mess to Wolverine, talking about, all right, Grandpa. Wolverine picks up with one hand and goes, oh, did you need me to grab my walker? And Ransom goes, I'm sorry. So Rogue's like, take one of them down. Hard. Who's he sound like? And Gambit doesn't even bat an eyelash. He just takes out one of his cards, throws it, and explodes right in front of Jitter, and she goes flying. So Nightcrawler bamps over there, so now it smells like farts. Him and Jubilee is trying to comfort her. She's crying. Jubilee goes over and starts bad-mouthing Rogue. She's like, what are you thinking? And Rogue's like, oh, I was thinking about Sentinels and Master Moles, Mr. Sinister, Omega Red, Sabretooth. So Nightcrawler's carrying Jitter, and then Jubilee's like, okay, no problem. Don't forget to put on your ruby quartz visor, which that's exactly what I was thinking. She talks bad about Scott 10 ways a Sunday, but when it all comes down to it, she acts just like him. So Wolverine's like, I know why you did it. I just didn't want you to had to. And Rogue's like, even a horse is looking at me crazy. So as Gambit is trying to make Rogue feel better and kissing her, all of a sudden she gets a phone call, and it's from the heifer. We're going to talk about this like later on in the video. So then we cut 4 miles outside of Graymalkin Prison. Now, when Captain Ezra was given the heifer to report, I guess a few guys have called off sick, and it's starting to get to be a lot of them. So we go to one of their houses, and this dude's wife's outside and is like, hey, the captain called and said you could take as much time as you need. Dude's in the bedroom and he's just freaking out. All of a sudden, he grabs his rifle, goes downstairs because she says dinner's ready, and all he sees is this whole family looking like sentinels. And he just grabs his gun, and you know ain't nothing good happen after that. So we get back to Graymalkin, and Charles calls out to the hag, and she's like, what the hell do you want? And he's like, I need your help. And she's like, huh, that's funny. And he's like, I know you can help me. I need out. It's my daughter. And the hag sits there, thinks about it, and is like, watch your head. And she uses her power and breaks him out the chair, and also breaks down the door and is like, I still hate you, sweet boy. Maybe even more now. Go save your daughter, Charles. So as he walks to the door, he's like, I can feel the presence outside of my X-Men. When he opens up the door, ooh, they look crazy as hell. So you got the first X-Men team that he thinks he's seeing, and then you got the actual team that's there. So Beast and Wolverine have been morphed together. Same thing with Cyclops and Jubilee. You got Gambit and Angel. You got Jean and Rogue, and Nightcrawler and Iceman. So if he bamps, will it smell like cold farts? So he's like, all right, ready to Blackbird because we got to go. And then Rogue walks up to him and is like, Charles, please listen. You have a tumor. It's at the base of your skull, and it's not normal. It's a mutant, Charles. Like him, I guess. And it's eating away at your telepathic control. And he's like, lies. And then just throws her with his mind. And Rogue's like, I forgot how hard he actually hits. So then they cut all the way to issue 1, where off panel, Heffa is talking to Rogue and Wolverine about Charles and how he has his tumor and how it's eventually going to be fatal. I'm like, I don't understand the relationship that's going on here. Like, she hates mutants, but she works with these mutants. They hate her for taking over their home and turning into a prison, but yet and still they're working with her. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. Let me know in the comments if you can make sense of this, or if it makes sense to you. I'm not saying these stories are bad, because these stories aren't bad, they're good, but I don't understand this relationship. So Wolverine goes at him, and Charles just swipes him away. Jubilee hits him with her fireworks. Rogue's like, Nightcrawler, get him out of here. And Charles is like, a teleporter, I feel it. And then he bamps, and it's horrific. One half is still by Rogue, frozen, and the other half is by Charles, frozen. Let's just say the whole room smells like farts. And then Charles decided to stop playing, even though I felt like he wasn't playing at all, especially as Nightcrawler, he ain't playing. And then he just takes out everybody in one fell swoop.